Hey there, my name is EW Buckley, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been playing a lot of Hitman lately, and I don't know if it's just Bald Guy Solidarity or Agent 47's Killer Wardrobe, but I am obsessed with that game. I'm also obsessed with its soundtrack, and all over these soundtracks are bass synths that are just the epitome of stealth. Bass is exactly like the one you're hearing beneath my voice right now. So today I'm going to teach you how to make these kind of evolving propulsive bass patches in Ableton's operator. Let's go ahead and jump right in. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this global shell here, and we're going to choose our third algorithm to start. We're also going to set our voice count to just 1, and we're going to turn on retrigger. And while we're here, we're going to bring the volume up to -6, and we're going to turn the filter off entirely. Moving over to operator A, we're going to make just a few adjustments. We're going to set our attack to 1 millisecond, and we are going to bring our velocity to 0 and our peak to -3. Since operator A is our carrier, this is just going to gently sculpt the overall envelope of the sound. Which is my reminder, since we're making a bass patch, I would really recommend that you listen to this tutorial on either studio monitors or headphones, so that way you can hear all that low end. For now, we're going to disengage operators B and C, which comprise one half of our modulator section, and instead focus on operator D, which is the other half of our modulator section. We're going to set the level to -12, and we're going to set the coarse to 0.5. This means that operator D will modulate operator A at half the rate of operator A. This is by no means a beginner FM tutorial, but I know that this stuff can be hard to grasp sometimes, so I'm going to try to just pepper in contextual little tidbits here and there like that, where I can. So we now know the rate and the amplitude at which operator D is going to modulate operator A, but we need to understand how it's going to modulate operator A over time. And for that, we need to look at our envelope. So we're going to set the attack to 2 milliseconds. We're going to set the decay to 600 milliseconds, and we're going to bring our sustain all the way down to -infinity. We're also going to set the velocity to 0 as well. Now to create our first set of pulses, we are going to go ahead and set the loop to sync, and then we're going to set the rate to 1/8. Now you might have noticed that there is both sync and beat, both of which set our rates to a rhythmic value. So what is the difference? Which this is something I didn't know for the longest time. But the answer to that is that beat will loop at the rate you set, but it is unquantized to your set overall, whereas sync is quantized or synchronized to the set. So we're going to use sync for this. The last change that we're going to do is we are going to set operator D's waveform from being a sine wave to a triangle wave. FM synthesis is traditionally done with just sine waves, but one of the cool features of Ableton's operator is that we can set other wave shapes as well. And I find that the triangle wave rounds out the sound in a really nice fashion. Now we're done with operator D, so let's disengage that and engage operator B, which is the first operator in our other modulator stack. We're going to set the level to -12. And then looking at the envelope, we are going to set the attack to 500 milliseconds, the decay to 1000 milliseconds or 1 second, and we're going to bring the sustain all the way down to -infinity. We're also going to turn down the velocity to nothing, and we are going to set the loop to a sync rate of 1 measure. It's lacking the weight that I would like to have coming from it, so first let's set the coarse to 0.5. I really cannot stress enough that if you are newer to FM synthesis or you're having a hard time with understanding how to make changes that really affect the sound, bingo, coarse knob always, always, always is going to impact the sound, presuming, that the level is up and it is actually modulating something. So play with the coarse control. Finally, we will also set this waveform to a triangle wave. It has this really great weight to it that feels great if we bring back operator D. already a more complex pulse is taking shape. So let's disengage operator D once more, and let's engage operator C. So our algorithm has operator C and B in a modulator stack. And so what that means is that operator C is going to modulate operator B, which is then going to modulate operator A. This might seem a little confusing or nebulous, but it will make a lot more sense on an intuitive layer when we start to get operator C setup. So let's set operator C to -21 decibels, and we're going to set our course to 2. Now looking at our envelope, we're going to set the attack to 1 millisecond, and we're going to bring our velocity to 0, but otherwise we're going to leave our envelope untouched. Now we're going to set our loop again to sync, but we're going to set it to a rate of 16th note, which is what it loads in by default. And we're going to set the waveform to triangle as well. Notice how we only hear the 16th note pulse of operator C when operator B's envelope opens up. That's because we're really just hearing operator B as it is being modulated by operator C. And in reality, we're just hearing operator A, which is our carrier, as it is being modulated by operator B. So now we have this periodic pulse that's at a fast rate that blends really nicely with the more constant rate from operator D. Let's bring that back in. Now let's talk about effects. So the first effect I have here is OTT, and I'm going to set the wet dry to 50%. Now the second effect that I have here is also another preset of multiband dynamics, which is multiband compression, and I'm also going to set that to 50%. Now it might seem a bit unorthodox to have two multiband compressors back to back, but I really like the combo of this dual compression, and these different presets do a really nice job of keeping the low end intact at these settings while also letting the mid-range really shine through, which is important for this sound. I find this particularly true when we add in our next effect, which is roar. So the multiband preset that it loads up with is great. And the first thing we're going to do is set the output to -3 decibels and our wet dry to 50%. Now let's set our low band to 20%, and we're going to set the shaper type to tube preamp. And so we can hear what's happening. Let's go ahead and set it to 100% wet dry for a moment and turn off our high and our mid band, and here's just those lows. Let's disengage that, turn on our mids, and we're going to set the amount to 20%. And for our shaper type, we're going to choose shards. And now turning on the highs, we're going to go ahead and again set it to 20%. And we're going to set our shaper to noise injection. Now let's bring the other two back and hear how it sounds all together. And we'll bring our wet dry back down to 50%. Now we're going to add a little bit more movement to the sound by taking advantage of roar's feedback mode. So let's go ahead and switch the feedback mode to a dotted eighth note, and we'll set the amount to 50%. Now let's use these frequency controls to fine tune the sound. Let's set the frequency to 350 Hertz and the width to 2. Now let's continue to build out this pulse by adding in a delay. We're going to set the feedback to 25%, and we're going to set the wet dry to 35%. And the default dotted eighth rhythm is great. We're going to change the mode to fade, and we're going to turn on ping pong. And then finally, with the filter engaged, we're going to set the frequency to 4,500 Hertz, and we're going to cut the width down to 4. We're setting it up like this to add some echo into the higher frequencies without really muddying up the bass frequencies. And then to just add a little bit of subtle movement that can almost be around the head, like we're going to set the time to just 1%. And then finally, we're just going to add an instance of utility with bass mono engaged. Now there are a lot of points of customization here. We could easily tweak any type of the shaper or the amount or things on Roar, but honestly the things that I find are most impactful for changing the sound are all the way back on Operator itself. Chiefly, I think the spread is awesome for adding stereo width. But the greatest impact controls are just below that. The tone control is going to shape the tone of every operator within Operator, and that has a really dramatic effect. It's impactful, but it's a bit more nuanced than just what a filter would do. Next to it is the time control, which is going to scale the time of all global envelopes. Now I've made a supercharged rack version of this preset. It's available to purchase on my website, but for members of my Patreon at the artist tier, this is your free monthly preset as part of the total bundle. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I'm working really hard to grow this channel to 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, and it's your support entirely that makes it possible. Till next time.